I'm J.M. Hirsch, editorial director at Milk Street, and this is Milk Street at Home Cocktail Edition. And today we are playing with fire because I'm going to show you how to make a smoked cinnamon old-fashioned. Now it's obvious that the ingredients we use to craft a cocktail, the liquor, the sweeteners, the bitters, the juices, are going to have an impact on the flavor of the finished drink. But what a lot of people don't realize is that there are simple things you can do to the glassware that you serve the drink in that can have just as strong an effect on the finished flavor. So today I'm going to show you how to smoke your glassware. Essentially what we're doing is we're choosing aromatic ingredients such as cinnamon sticks or bay leaf or fresh rosemary. But you can also use a citrus peel or cardamom pods. I actually use pine needles when I'm doing a gin-based cocktail. You're going to set it on fire. You're going to put it down on a flame-proof surface. You overturn your glassware onto it. That snuffs out the flame and fills the glass with smoke. Those smoke particles adhere to the inside of the glass. Now, when you fill that glass with a cocktail, every sip you take is going to have that charred aromatic essence of whatever you used to create the smoke. It's such an easy, fun way to change the profile of an otherwise standard cocktail. Now, the process is simple, but there's a few things you're going to want to keep in mind. The first is that you need a flame-proof surface. Now, I'm using a metal tray, but you could just as easily use a stainless steel skillet or a baking sheet. The second thing is that the interior of your glass needs to be wet. The smoke particles adhere better to a wet surface than to a dry one, and so if we want the deeper, richer, smoky flavor, we want to wet it before we add the smoke. Now, what you wet it with is kind of up to you, but you can use water, which is a simple matter of pouring in some water, turning the glass just to coat all the surfaces, and then pouring it out, getting out the excess, and that's it. But if you want to up your game, you can use something that not only conveys moisture, also conveys flavor. So for my smoked cinnamon old-fashioned, I'm going to use some sweet vermouth. And again, I'm just going to put a little drop in here. You can really use anything that has any flavor. I would skip things like vodka because it's kind of a waste. It's not going to convey any flavor, so it's kind of a waste of an ingredient. But you just turn it and then pour out the excess. Now, what you use to light your ingredient on fire, that's kind of up to you. You can use a match, a candle, the burner on a gas stove. Frankly, I like to use a blowtorch because it's just more fun. So what we're going to start with is a cinnamon stick for our toasted cinnamon old-fashioned, some rosemary, and a bay leaf. So I'm going to try to light this without setting myself or the house on fire. There we go. Haha. All right. Again, we're not looking to torch the house. We're just looking to ignite the ingredient a little bit so that when we snuff it out, it creates smoke. There we go. And that should go out, and that's going to fill the glass with smoke. And then we have our rosemary. And that's good. Cover that. And then finally our cinnamon stick, which will take a little bit longer to light. There we go. Turn that off before I hurt myself or burn something. Again, you can see the glasses filling with smoke. That's coating the inside, and that's exactly what we want. And I can already smell it. It's actually amazing. It smells like cinnamon toast. It's really good. All right, so you're going to want to leave that for about a minute or two just to give it time to adhere. And in the meantime, I'm going to make my old-fashioned. Now, normally I would make an old-fashioned directly in the glass, but we don't want to overturn this until it's had time to coat. So I'm going to do it in a stirring glass. Now, I am a big believer in the pre-prohibition era style of old-fashions, which means it's pretty minimalist. It is 3 ounces of bourbon or rye. This is bourbon. And just a hint of sugar. I use agave syrup because it's the same as simple syrup for the most part, a little bit easier because I don't have to make it. And I'm going to use, and that's by the way, about 1/4 ounce. And this is just a dash of orange bitters. You could also use Angostura bitters, but I like the combination of orange and cinnamon. It goes really well. All right, now, I am not a big believer in ice. This is something Christopher Kimball and I disagree on. He likes a lot of ice in his old-fashioned, and I think that's the best way to ruin an old-fashioned. All right, that is stirred and ready. So I'm not going to fill these, but I will show you that when you overturn them, you're going to get some wonderful smoke coming out of there. Yeah, that's herbal and green and fresh. That'd be great with a gin cocktail, as would the rosemary. But what we're interested in is the smoked cinnamon old fashioned. So we're going to turn this over. See our smoke coming out. Wow. This is like a sugar cookie combined with bourbon, frankly. That's amazing. Well, cheers. So that is how you smoke glassware for cocktails.